Alright, hey, all praise high. How are you doing, everyone? I hope you're doing good. This is Keanu, and we'll be talking about Bill and... I love that shit. Ah, shit. Leo got bit by a bear, and Brad cheated on Angela because she carved her body up for humanitarian awards. Alright. 2016. It's an amazing year so far. It is. We just had the baby 30 days ago. Like, sitting there smoking all this stuff in the kitchen, and then the Lord blesses us with a baby on what of all days? Of all days. Kind of bosom day. Well, it was a very unique blessing. And the baby's amazing. Oh, he's just amazing. Like he looks like me. I don't have dimples. He's got dimples on him. But oh man. Sometimes he's lighter than me. Sometimes he's darker than me. Oh, it's weird. I think it has to do with days I go out in the sun, because we don't take him out in the sun yet. We don't get him some sun. Put a little mask over him. Be like, go take a dude to a FEMA camp. Just messing with his head. I was just like, but he's pretty smart. Like, I was like, you know, he'll sit there and start scratching. Keep your hands out of your eyes, and you take his hand down. You know, he knows what his eyes are. You know, knows what his mouth is. You know, but man, after midnight, he turns into a fucking menace. Oh, shit. Oh, staring at lights and just, won't go to bed. Like, you know, change your sleep habits now. Change them. You know, like, damn. But, you know, that stuff aside, you know, it is hard. Oh, so frustrating to keep your temper toward your loved one. Hey man, it's easy to deal with that baby crying. You can block that shit out. You know, pop the pacifier in, spits it right back out. Yeah, but oh man, but it takes a lot of tolerance. You know, it's gaining that tolerance is a unique thing about maturity. You know, and maturing. You know, and good old-fashioned growth. All praise the one that created us. That's why he has shared a blessing with me. And you know, one day this kid is going to be an adult. You know, he'll walk free and he'll be part of the earth, and his decisions will affect reality, you know, just like the rest of us, you know. You know, and that's what we're here about. That's why we got the old YouTube on, you know, because, you know, us affecting reality. So, it seems that, that I have become, dangerous. You know, it seems that, people, now view me, not all people. Some people realize I'm just some guy, but you know, some people view me as dangerous or even powerful. And you know, I knew something was going on when somebody named lexwill starts exposing lexwill while he's using like my you know, his name in you know, in the style of my he's named something Williams, but you know, like it's lexwill, and he does the will thing. Like, wow, you don't like me, but you're Yeah, I mean that's cool. It's like if you go up against a villain with like new tech, and you can get your hands on the tech, and he's still roaming free. Aren't you going to use his own tech against him? I mean, that's what you guys are doing, using my own knockology against me. You know, it's cool. I've been watching a lot of Bruce Lee movies, so I'm ready for all. So what we're gonna do is where's this gonna, some fire's been started, and I don't know if we're gonna just keep the fire going, let it burn up the forest, or if we're gonna just put the fire out, you know. So somebody took the time to tell me that they're on me again, you know. So I feel that there is a black group that is against me. I feel it's a group. Now, aside from that group, I feel that this is part of a new group. Whether this be one person or 3, 5, you know. Right now, I think it's just one person, you know. So
lexwill it is. This guy's awesome. He is the crazy. He is one of the. He actually is a Hebrew Israelite though.
So that's 2 different voices. So this is 2 guys. So they're a group. So I think they're doing a podcast. So
I figured as much. So sorry, Allison. We have a true Jew to present to you. Yeah.
You should see me when I'm trying to buy stuff.
You a real Jew. You a fake.
I promise.
And for the record, this quality was him, not me. This is him uploading in like 360p. This is his fault. His quality sucks. Yeah.
It's for educational purposes. So we live in a white supremacist society, and I'm uploading in 360p because I'm at the bottom, right? And so here, you know, I'm being made fun of because you know, I don't have quality gear. You know, I'm sorry, I don't have quality gear. Thanks.
Oh, did he miss his meds again? This guy's completely off his rocker. But I think he's trying to be funny. Yeah, it just comes off as distressing.
Yeah. I'm just not teaching the people you want.
Yeah, he's a real superhero education. Hello, everybody. He's an intellectual dark knight. Wow, that's scary.
So, did you just call me Batman? Oh boy.
Switch like hello, everybody. Now we're getting down and serious with lexwill.
How are you? I'm fantastic. Tomorrow's my day off. Yes, I forgot about that part.
A little medication tick there for you.
Like, did I forget to take my meds? Yep. Yeah, fuck it.
I'll get him tomorrow.
Yeah.
What a fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so I like to feature videos sometimes, and I saw a video last night that just...
Wait, this is lexwill doing like a video review?
Oh, he does that all the time. Oh, by the way, Hackboard, I don't think our thing is on this.
So I do it all the time, so you know I do it all the time, and you watch how I do things all the time because you're always watching. So, always watcher, always hello. So there's one. Here's another one. Here we have Michael Copper Warrior, and he's got some new vids. Now I want to highlight the dates. Now on May 13th it was Lexwill Needs Evidence. This is about haplogroups. On May 15th it was a warning before going to Utah. This is to everyone, right? And then on May 19th it's just downright fuck Lexwill. Okay, so sometimes I look in the mirror and I say fuck me too, you know, right on that. I feel that way a lot too. So you know, first you know, this is Lexwill Needs Evidence. So first he uses a clip of me, and then
Haplogroup A, boom, you see. All right, it's gonna send you to the cosines. Where's cosine? You see? Cosine, cosine. Boom.
44% in one and 47% in another. That's what he wanted us to see, okay?
The majority of the cosines. And you guys gotta know.
No, not the majority of the fucking cosines. No. See that first column? That's how many people did the test. Not majority. So next, there's before going to Utah.
What up, y'all? I want y'all to listen to this video. It has to deal with Montezuma's gold. It's very important because there's a lot of people that is claiming to be from the tribes of Yaqub, from the tribes of Israel, when indeed they are not. And if you guys don't know by now, 60% of you guys are Canaanites. Yes, while 15% of you guys are Assyrians. And less than 15% of you guys are from Haplogroup Q3. So, you guys need to listen up on.
So, America's filled with R1B, black people, Q something, black people, and, we'll learn the rest today. Q, R1B, and E1B1A, and E1B1B. And that's just what they want to tell you.
This before you guys think about going to Utah and trying to search for Moses or search for Montezuma's gold or search for the Ark of the Covenant, because this might happen to you guys if you cross that line and try to mess with my ancestors' things. My ancestors try to mess with my ancestors' things.
Okay, so here we have on the 19th. Today's like the 20th. Okay, one day later. So on the night yesterday, he had some free time, so he was like this.
What up, y'all? This is a response to Lexwill's sneak dissing video that he had.
My what?
What up, y'all? This is a response to Lexwill's sneak dissing video.
Sneak dissing?
That he had made recently, in the video with the word Haplogroup in it, that he uploaded on the 18th. I'm gonna let you guys listen to his ignorant ass. Yeah. So I'm gonna let the video play, and then I'm gonna answer your questions. I'm going to not answer his questions. Well, I'm going to show you guys where he messed up. Because this guy thinks he knows it all. Well, he don't know it all.
No. I read to you. You read this. You saw the same thing on screen that I saw. Now, here's a subject that I didn't know anything about.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose where he messed up.
Okay. There's something in the black community, or in the community of people that call themselves black. And the problem is when you expose something, it is a great thing, okay? To expose something is to pull away something. All right, to highlight and say, you're wrong here, or you're wrong here, that's something completely different, okay? If your wife is sleeping with someone and you tell the person that adultery is being committed on, you expose them to this great thing that's being done behind their back. Well, let's say I sit here for an hour and 2 minutes. Are you going to expose how haplogroups are supposed to be correct? If you do that, which really means teach, then why are you using the word expose? And why didn't you title it teaching how haplogroup? You got an issue. I don't care. Tomorrow, I'm not going to care. The next day, I'm not gonna care. Here's a song I used to sing when I had a big giant fucking chip on my shoulder. I want to share it with you. It's called I Don't Give a Damn. A little bit louder. I don't give a damn. Fuck lexwill. I say that to myself sometimes. But unless you're teaching how these haplogroups are supposed to show people groups that are marginalized with other people groups taking your identity and using DNA to keep your identity. The Bible says Aaron and every fucking body else are Afro peoples. Black skin, gold skin, fine brass skin, and feet, I'm assuming the underparts, as if burned. The Bible says these people are colored, but DNA says the people of the book are pale. And you're not represented on the fucking DNA chart. Amerindian is represented. Northeast Amerindian and just Amerindian. Where are you represented? How come when I show you that you're marginalized, and they used to have pictures but they took those away so you don't even fucking know it's you, and you just don't get it because your ego is bruised? Well, now normally I would take the time to bruise the rest of you. Your pride. Get you in touch with that thing called shame. Because your argument is haplogroups. And your arguments with the genetic companies. And you don't even understand. You can't comprehend. And I can't help that you can't comprehend. Because there's a scripture that says, do not strive in genealogies. But you won't read. And someone that can't read, how can you debate with one that you don't know stuff that would support your argument, yet you're not reading stuff that would show you the argument is not even valid. You're not comprehending the reality of it. It's called pre-Columbian history. They do not want to match you to it. Are you going to start a DNA company and sell the truth? That's different. I'm making these videos. You're not going to teach me anything. I'm sorry. My spirit won't even fucking play this fucking video. I got control of my hands. My spirit won't even play this video. But something in me said, take your hand down. On this other video. So I brought this other video back up. Lexwill needs evidence. Now I'm gonna hit the plus button so it'll make words bigger. So you got 45 comments down here. Alright. And you know, you talked to me privately, and all I said to you was, hey man, you know, just keep continuing with the mystery of the Mexican pyramids, how you were reading them. And that's the most text, I think, I'm pretty sure it was text. That's the most when we went back and forth. So here people start communicating. In a prior video, he acknowledged that RB1 was found in Africa and Europe among the Chadic people. I don't know why I can't see the rest of that comment. It's because I hit bigger. Chadic people, but in his newest upload, he denounced that E1B1 is a major haplogroup of African blah blah blah. No, I didn't denounce that. I read from the map. Are you fucking stupid? And then you come on a video that has not mine, and you write shit that it didn't really have to do with what I was saying. Remember, these two morons, Khalid and this fucking tag along, sits there and reads from that shit. So let's just make sure everything's on the screen. See, it's like another lines right there. Now, yeah, and tax exemption, right? Okay, so this dude's worried about fucking tax exemption. And okay, so here we have this tard. I believe he wants to start a village in Utah in which Canaanite women are the rulers of that society, and Israel's redemption, or any black woman in general, in their supreme chief or mother goddess deity, because he denounces that the majority of E1B1 fucking what? Okay, so I denounce that Israel is E1B1A, so you think that I'm gonna have black women rule over? Okay, so this is what goes on Michael's channel, Mr. Cop Warrior. This is what goes on, right? So, and flips the equation around to say that it's the minority. So I personally believe he wants to start a feminist queendom in Utah, where they will build fertility altars and idols to worship Mother Nature. Okay, and he wants to use the young men and old men as cannon fodder to support the buildup of it all. He also said he was going to find the body of Moses in a tomb and take the last scroll from Moses' dead body or hands. Okay, so this is what goes on in these comments about what'd you say, the evidence, right? This is the evidence for me, buddy. Good pal. So, here, we'll go further down. It gets better. Okay. So here's that person. I heard that if you kept a corpse at a certain temperature, it will maintain its gene cells to some degree, its appearance. There were archaeologists or researchers, I believe, they found a frozen mummy in age and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, and it says, Lex said that he will be the one to find the tomb of Moses and claim the last scroll, and that nobody's going to get in his way. Yeah, that was my words. Yeah, but do you know what the scroll does? You know the scroll even exists? No. No, you guys are just children. On a side note, also said that he will be in charge of a village, which I guess it makes sense considering it's his campaign and all, but he said that anyone who crosses his commands will be done away with. But I personally believe that he's just saying that to men who will try to cross him, because we all know that he has a soft spot for black women, especially Miss Redemption. If one of his female followers stabbed him in the back and tried to assume leadership and authority, he and most of his male following would probably be in support of it, and they might even build statues and murals to commemorate the traitor, maybe even altars. Okay, so instead of this guy, where are you coming from? Where are you coming from? I'm in the Windy City. See, you would think that like he means, where are you coming from with this shit? You're just making shit up. But no, he's saying, where are you coming from? He wants to meet up with him, because look, we should form a council so things won't get screwed up. I'm talking about once we are there, and I believe that we should think about forming one. Right? So these guys. So look. Openly, these guys are telling each other we should form a fucking council, like, behind his back, and I think we should do it once we're there. But like, so he says, hey, where are you coming from? I'm in the Windy City, right? So one's in Tennessee, the other one's in Chicago. Duh, he just said he was in the Windy City, Chicago, right? Like, yeah, Chicago, Iraq, right? Right, this is what they like to say, like, oh, Chicago's like Iraq. No, it's not! Fucking, they shot bullets with depleted uranium. The fucking soldiers carried that shit on their chest, on the sides of their thighs. They didn't have any protection from that. They shot that into people. The children born today look like clobsters. No way Chicago's like Iraq. So, he says, forming a council. So look, says forming a council would probably be a good idea if we're going to start your own society out there. If you do start a small system, you need to balance out the power and have many chiefs, but the way it's looking, you're going to have many queens and goddesses and little to no male leaders. Period. Lex is a womanizer and a hot look at this shit, right? So he'd probably have women establish a law stating that you cannot be part of the village unless you marry a black woman. Most of the laws will likely be marriage and forced laws prohibiting marriage with non-black women, and that's pretty much all I expect from the society that Lex is going to set up in Utah. Marriage laws will be enforced, female represented. Heck, they might even put Israel's Redemption as the president And Lex is the vice president, even though he came up with the idea of going there. No, I didn't. It's written in scripture, you dumbass. See, that's the problem with these people. You have to sit there and now ask, is the Lord communicating with them? Are angels of the Lord communicating with them? This is what they do with their free time. They plan conquest before a settlement, or this is what he said, a settlement or a small village is even set up. So they just openly plot. If this gets started, we should do this. I doubt that I'll be able to go to Utah with them even if I wanted to, which I'm starting to think that I may not want to go, because even if I did, I wouldn't amount to anything positive or spiritual. Oh, here's the truth. I didn't make this shit up. Here it is. Even if I did, I wouldn't amount to anything, period. Positive or spiritual. Or brotherly, for that matter. All it would be is a bunch of idolatry. So, see, he says, I, and then he changes the subject, believing that the place would, whatever I start would be. Now, here's I, even if I wanted to, which I'm starting to think I may not want to, because even if I did, it wouldn't amount to anything positive or spiritual. Oh, he believes that it wouldn't be positive or spiritual. Well, I think the truth is that you wouldn't be positive or spiritual. All I've done is share some goals. And this, for the most part, is what you're going to find everywhere. People daydreaming. I teach and preach against idolatry. And this person, right, all it would be is a bunch of idolatry and mother goddess worship, combined with altars and statues of moon goddesses, topped off with a set of strict marriage laws and social principles forbidding you from engaging with or associating with non-black women. I have no doubt in my mind who will dominate that place. Okay, so this person says having a president and VP is no different from how America does. I'm talking about a council of 12. I got the idea from a TV show called Battlestar Galactica. It turns out, what they got, that concept from 12 tribes. The several of Lex followers have wives that are, and several of Lex wives have followers. I don't have followers. Have wives that are not Hebrew. I don't care about that, but in the Old Testament there were judges, and even the Mongolian tribes have chiefs. In my mind, chief is somewhat like a judge. This one states again, I have no doubt this village or society will include somewhat of a tribal council or chiefdom, but knowing Lex, I know one thing is for certain, it will be female controlled. It says, even if he does go for a male-governed society, best believe it won't last long. Lex has opened the door to everyone in the black community, both maternal Negroes who believe in feminism and paternal Negroes who believe in brotherhood. Once all of the people move to Utah, there will likely be a lot of tension between the spirits. People won't agree with one another, and eventually segregation and war will take place, and soon enough African American women are going to be the head of his entire village by the time all the in-house fighting and carnage is over. I don't want to be any part of it. It's just my prediction, little prediction. of what may happen. Okay. You may feel different on some aspects of it, but it's just my take on it. The way I see it, he's only one person, and sad to say, he could easily be usurped by strong bucks and simps. He is inviting them to his stronghold, though, so it's almost like suicide plan in a way. I like the idea of him offering open shelter. See, that's all that's happened. All that's happened is open shelter will be offered. And this is what's done in response. All this fucking babbling. I like the idea of him opening shelter to people who fund him. That's a corrupt statement. And I'll address that soon. But as far as him building another kingdom in isolation, that would not work out of the work well unless all parties are in agreement, which they will most likely not be. Look at the black community now. You have guys claiming Kemet, you have others claiming more, you have others claiming Israel. One group could easily overthrow the other, or perhaps even unite to take Lex down from the throne and put themselves in power and start a feminist society in a blink of an eye. Then somebody says, try not to be negative. I think all of the crazy women left his channel, and I believe they want to have nothing to do with him. But if you remember, some Israelites will be replaced with Egyptians and Assyrians. I mean, there will be other people among us. Good point. And how do you know most blacks are Canaanites? He states, well, you don't think that they're going to be overrun. Well, you don't think that they're going to overrun his settlement sooner or later? If they don't follow Lex to Utah right away, they're going to do later on. Marriage laws are going to be enacted, social bias is going to grow, tension will arise, and in the end, strong bucks and feminists will, so he's just repeating everything he says. Feminists will reign over the priest class, and a black woman will assume Lex Will's position as leader, with double the amount of power as a man. And anyone who protests or fights against the Marriage Act or tries to repeal it will be tied to a pole and made an example of in front of the whole village. I can see it now. One section of the group is going to go rogue and seek the gold and the lost treasures of the Aztecs and Mayans, and one is going to go rise up against Lex, and there will be straight up anarchy within the group. Lex himself even stated that there could be potential adultery among the village, and the thought of something like that happening does not surprise me one bit. Adultery, feminism, espionage is coming to Utah. I'm sorry, I wish I had something positive to predict about it. LOL, I can't. I know how these guys are. Okay, so I said, at what point will you bring up the Creator or even believe in him? All this shit. Nothing about the Creator. Nothing. Nothing. Then we have a comment here. It says, you're a train that came off the track. This is Michael to Khalil, right? Off the track, about to crash in a wall somewhere. You need to study more and put the pieces together. The name of the Creator is Haya, not Allah, right? It is very obvious. I've done a lesson at least a year ago showing the same thing. The funny thing is that Yah is Haya backwards. Allah is Haya backwards, and Yah is Haya backwards. Go to the video. What are you worshiping? Yahweh. Go to the video. What are you worshiping? Allah. I've shown you who these deities really are. Then we go to the beginning of this, right? Now, you have Khalil saying, I made it where these niggas got to deal with this DNA, so I'm proud of that. When everyone is saying that Haya and Allah are one and the same, you can thank me for that too. Okay, so you see, he has taught people, this Khalil guy, right? He has taught people that Haya and Allah are one, which they're not. And he says, you can thank me for that too. So, here, we'll go back to this video again. We'll go scroll down to the bottom. This is the same video. And he says to him, stop sowing discord. These dudes both took their DNA, so they're from the same DNA class, right? So he says we are both this DNA shit, so we should stop dissing each other. Okay, so now they're able to hold their DNA tags next to each other and say, oh, we're from the same blood. Well, good for them. When we come back, we're going to simply go over DNA of American Negro. Then we're going to go, what is the haplogroup of African Americans? We're going to go over haplogroup L2, right? Look at this. You've heard E1B1A, right? You've heard these dudes say that they're Q. You see Q3 on the chart they keep looking at for world distribution of haplogroups. You see R1B for America. See, here's the thing. For America, you see R1B, Q3. That's what they show you. And they show you that for the Amerindian. Now, you've never heard haplogroup L is among what? African Americans. Why have you not? Because nobody took the fucking time to look. Then, genetic history of indigenous people of America. Now, when the white people got R1B, and the Indians got R1B, and black people got R1B, and they show you the root of R1B is in Chad, then all of them is from Africa. If E1B1 and E1B is from Africa, from the east end, it'd just be easier to pull up that damn haplogroup shit now. And then when you type in African Americans and you scroll down, they'll tell you all kinds of shit about African Americans. On average, African Americans are 73.2% West African. But they won't tell you the DNA structure. They won't tell you the fucking haplogroup. Because you're marginalized, motherfucker. You have to specifically look under a rock. And once you look under this rock, you start learning about haplogroup I. And haplogroup I is considered as the only native European haplogroup. Europeans are not native to Europe. So they read this shit to you, but they never once tell you that it's a black gene. It's Negro or Afro. Remember we were looking at haplogroup I on the European DNA thing? Here, I'll bring it back up. Here, R1b haplogroup. Let's bring this back down here where we just were. Where's that one? I'll be damned. Oh, to find these damn charts, man. No, that's not the same one. Give me a second. You gotta bring up Y DNA haplogroups in European populations. Alright? Now, you should be able to take the same thing and type it in here, paste, and then put North America. Now it goes right to indigenous each time, right? Now when you get indigenous going, it ain't gonna show your black ass. Now, let me show you this again. Oh, too far. Take our time. Now, Y-DNA of Negro, right? And you start looking underneath to see if they gonna tell you anything. See, this gives you a fucking story. See, this gives you a story. This one gives you E1B1A in Hebrew. Alright, nobody that owns the DNA companies says E1B and B1A in Hebrew in the same sentence. So you know that's not what you're looking for. That is a sculpted thought. That is not a block of fresh clay. It's already been sculpted in. So then we just keep scanning until something comes up. You keep going through these, and so when nothing comes up, you change the subject matter, right? What's the haplogroup of African Americans? Now you saw we went with Y DNA of American Negro, and then they don't want to tell you yet, right? So you're gonna have to dig through whatever million of fucking articles that came up. And we don't have time to dig just yet. So change the search criteria. What haplogroup are African Americans? And then EV38 comes up. Now that's the guy that wants to tell you E1B1A, right? The haplogroup is often observed in the United States population in men who identify as African Americans. Okay, now that's Wikipedia page. Now, Wikipedia verifies that the guy that believes that they're Hebrew. But all that verifies is African Americans come back as E3A. There's nothing that says E3A is Hebrew. In fact, their chart shows E3A starts in West Africa. West Africa. Their chart shows it starts in West Africa. When you start examining EV38, it starts talking about Ethiopian territory. Macro haplogroup L. Predominant. What the fuck do you mean predominant? Does predominant mean dominant? Let's look at the word predominant. Let's copy. Open me a new one. Let's paste. What does predominant means? for the most part. So, everybody keeps telling you all kinds of shit about African Americans. You got this, you got that, you got this, you got that. But nobody tells you about El. What did the Canaanite call the creator? El. Macro Haplogroup El is predominant. Most of us have some kind of L in us. African Americans share haplogroup L2A. And you came back Q, nigga! I'm questionable about Q. Now, some black people here in America have R1B. So do Europeans, so do people at Chad. Some African Americans, right? African Americans belong to subclass, not predominant. Subclass. That means you fucked in E1B1A. That does not mean you're a dominant E1B1A. DNA of the Negro didn't come up, but DNA of the African American came up as predominant. You know what dominant means? It is forbidden. Then we must go. As part of the human polygenic tree represents more ancestral lineage among living modern humans. Yeah. Now, sub-Saharan Africa. Now, you know what sub-Saharan. Tarzanians. Oh my, I've been waiting to be able to do that shit. I just didn't want to just throw it in the wrong place. Look, it just pops up. We are the Amazonians. Little Tarzan is found in Amazon, right? By what? Whites. Whites didn't find a white baby in the Amazon. They found a black baby in the Amazon after they already pushed everybody north. North of the Amazon, back into Egypte. America. North America. South America used to be called Black River. Right? Negro River. North Africa used to be called Negro Land. A Negro Land. Negro. Come on, man. This is not hard. Europeans say we're not original to Europe. We came from somewhere else. Your DNA game says they came from Africa. Your DNA game says they came from Africa and you came to Europe. So it's like they was moved from Africa to Europe, and you were moved from Europe to the Americas, and eventually they spread from Europe to the Americas and took your ass back to Europe and Asia. It's a fucking 3-card money. Where in Noah's Ark land? That's what everybody wants to argue, right? Where did Noah's Ark land? If it landed in Africa, everybody's African. If it landed in Asia, everybody motherfucking Asian. Right? We know it didn't land here. Everybody ain't from here. The Israelites started in Africa. As the history that we're given tells us. Wherever Egypt is, i.e. the start, the original, the root. That's where the Israelites are born into captivity. Ephraim and Manasseh are Egyptian blood, not Canaanite blood. So you're gonna have two different blood groups that are part African. I'm not saying half African or any of that shit. One's from Canaan, the other's from Mizrahim, Egypt. Now, the funny thing is after that, we mix with those people again. You have to ask yourself, why is nobody looking at L? Its major subclads include L this, L that, with all non-African exclusivity descended from haplogroup L3. So, that means it's saying prior to L3, L1, L2, with all non-Africans exclusivity descended from just only L3. So everybody else is African-esque except for L3, which is weird. L3 descendants notwithstanding, the designation haplogroup L is typically used to designate the family of mtDNA clades that are most frequently found in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, sub-Saharan is a code word. Alright, remember, you were the sub-Saharan African brought over on the slave ship, right? It's a code word. However, all non-African haplogroups coalescate or something like that. Coalesce on either M or N, and both these macro haplogroups are simply sub-branches of haplogroup L3. So get this, M and N are just branches of L3. Now, isn't that, ooh, shit, and I grabbed the cord. Now, isn't that weird? L3 broke off and created haplogroup M and N. Consequently, L is its broadest definition is really a paragroup containing all of modern humanity. So look at this. All of modern humanity kind of comes from L. And all human mitochondrial DNA from around the world are subclads of haplogroup L. Haplogroups M and N are sometimes referred as haplogroups L3M and L3N respectively. It's defined as the female human ancestor who is the most recent common ancestor to the most deep-rooted lineage in humanity. Haplogroups L, L0, and L1 through 6. And it covers the areas of Sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa, West Africa, Europe, and the Americas. Now somehow, mtDNA, female DNA, one woman group, has been spread everywhere. Now, you can see it for yourself right there. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Now, this is the question. I don't care about anything else that's said. Please don't write anything that refers to anything else. It would just make this video much more interesting if we all individually, don't worry about what the guy wrote before you. Think about this. Does what's written about LDNA, does that match the scripture of spread to the four corners of the earth? This is talking about women, or finding the female root in people's DNA match up to L, saying modernly L is like the modern Eve, because most people in all of these predominant in all of these areas have this female DNA. Now, are African Americans, Negroes, or are they Africans? So, this is the world map of Y haplogroups. Alright, now, who may not know, I'm sure somewhere you can find created it, I'm not sure, but that, yes, that is important. Just like we look at the Brenton Bible, we see things that aren't in the KJV on purpose because King James sent these motherfuckers over here to enslave you and steal your goddamn land. So, where is L from? Now you can see it what's going. Every time I do this, it don't want to show it to me no more. So I guess this is the best I'm getting it. So when you look at Africa, I'm not seeing L out of Africa. So I want you to think about that. When you look at around this map, I don't see L down here. I see M. If you see M and N, that comes from L3. So M should lead us to L. But that's what's going on with this map. It's just a game. These maps says it can tell us where we started from to a degree. Here's N. N comes down right here. N3 right there. But N comes from L3. So where is L? Now, anybody can pop this thing open. I'm going to click it to see when I clicked it to go higher, it said the image that it contains errors. It won't display because it contains errors. That's the game it plays with me each time. Every time I try to get this bigger, I'm prevented. So you see L down here? Now you read what it said. Everybody's got to a great extent. Most people have L female DNA in them. M and N come from L3. Somewhere in here. And you see these are backwards, right? How come this shit's always written backwards? How come you read R1B first and then R1A? Why is it backwards? You gotta understand, this shit, it's rigged. The fucking casino's rigged, this shit's rigged. Here you got E1A right there, E1. Here's E2 right here. There's E3 and E2 right there. So these are claimably, by these people's standards, these are the starting points, right? Now you see E3 in north, E3 in the south. You see E3, E3B2, E3, E3B2, E3B1. Just bring it up on your screen. And you can see most of Africa has E3 DNA. E3, 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 E3. Now imagine that. Wouldn't that be Canaanites? Africa's littered with E3 DNA. If I get my blood tested and it's E3, then I know I'm a Canaanite. And it's not, it doesn't mean the fucking end of the world. Does it mean I've wasted my time with 700 videos? I ain't gonna get salvation? No. But if I do get my blood test and I come back as Moab, if I get my blood test and I come back as Ammon, yeah, then that says something different. See, every time we read this Bible, it's telling us who the Israelites were warring with on this land. I do not think it's telling us about any of this. That's why these people came here and said, we've never seen anything like this. They got pyramids in the ground over here, and they said, we never seen anything like this in Americas. So those pyramids in the ground must be really old. Everybody done come and laid claim on them ever since the people that originally made them left. Now, by the Bible standards, we should ask ourselves, when is the pyramids in Egypt created? That we call Egypt today. And then we need to understand the dates of these pyramids over here and these pyramids down here, and because this is all one. You don't see any degree of separation. This is all one. The separation comes here when Alexander the Greek builds the land bridge. Mexico's part of the north and Canada's part of the north. So, again, everybody's playing with your mind, and it's for a reason. It's for your finance. See, you're telling yourself, well, if I keep doing my DNA test, I can find my family. Well, yeah, you can find your modern family. You're not going to find an ancient bloodline that you're connected through DNA. Like, it's hidden right in front of you. And they don't want you to know. And you're worried about fucking Q's and Z's and P's and M's and shit, man. African Americans are L2. Right? Oh, well, how come the genetic people, right? In history of genetic history of indigenous people of Americas. Have you gone in any of this? Q, R, and C. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean Q and R are related? Because you've already, your buddy has already showed R1 is African. Europeans and Africans share R1. So if they show that indigenous people here share R1, doesn't that mean that they have Hamitic blood in them? See, when you read those Canaanite tribes, there's 11 tribes. So when you say there's Canaanites in America versus there's Hebrews spread to the four corners of the earth, how many Israelites do you think are in America? We all can't be Hebrews because you've gotten blood tests and they all come back different. They come back different to a degree, but still saying the same shit. Cameroon, Chadic. Like, I'll go back to the DNA video, right, and play it. So here you have, they don't necessarily break it down too much the way you want. So here, the spread of haplogroup Q in indigenous populations. So it says Q is solid throughout the north and south, but it's the northeast is where it differs. So we scroll down. Population densities in the Americas and Native American Y chromosome haplogroup R frequency above. So this is just showing you North America and a little bit from South America, showing you the density. So R starts here and fluctuates outwardly, while Q is dominant for the most part everywhere else. Right? Now here's R1. Right now we just looked at this, and this is what? This is R period, and here's R1. The children of R1, the children of R, right? Spread of haplogroup R, same thing, right? So somehow R, again, is all over the northeast and the north and Europe and the Middle East. Very little in Australia. Scroll down, haplogroup C. Now, northwest Canada for the main part, and some down in what? In the Four Corner area. And all over Asia. Right? Now, is mainly found in indigenous Siberian Sea, is Mongolian and Kazakh, in the Inuit. It says some researchers feel that this may indicate that the Dene groups are also unusually among the indigenous peoples of having a high frequency of QM2, and that's called the Nade. And the Nade migrated occurred from the Russia Far East after the Paleo-Indian colonization. So there was a Paleo-Indian colonization that happens, right? But prior to modern Indian expansions. Okay, so there you have a little bit of that, right? And what does it really mean? Well, to a great point, nothing right now. But as we go a little bit deeper, understanding that in the Americas alone, you have Q, you have R or R1, and you have C. On top of that, even though you're marginalized, you can read that L2 is on the continent, right? But it's dominant. Now, although I don't have where it says on this page dominant, you can see here haplogroup L2 of the Americas as well as indigenous Americans. Now, when we go to indigenous Americans, right? Haplogroup, excuse me, 1 second. This is what happens when you get too many of these goddamn things on the page. Alright, when you go genetic history of indigenous peoples of America. Now, you see Q, you see R, you see C. Now, did it say L anywhere? No, it didn't, right? Let's go back. Excuse me. Haplogroup L, Wikipedia. Macro haplogroups L origin is connected, blah blah blah, of the Americas as well as indigenous Americans. Now, are they hiding that from you? Because here, I'll just move it next to it. Genetic history of Americas and macro haplogroup L. Now, it says under macro haplogroup L, and we'll just open that one again. It's just going to be the same one. Now, it said this page is dangerous, right? Now, it's the same page. mitochondrial Eve, right? Haplogroup L's origin is connected with mitochondrial Eve. Did you know that? And thus is believed to suggest an ultimate African origin of modern humans. Now, I'm just reading what's there. So, because I'm trying to find where highlights of the indigenous Americans to show you L is a major factor in all fucking people groups. But when you go to genetic, it just show you of Americans, indigenous Americans, it just shows you Q, R, and C. CP39, CP30, I am C3P0. Alright, so when we go, look at this. Here we have an autosomal genetic tree showing some neighboring relations with American Indian people. So when you look at this, scrolling up and down, oh, you can't scroll up and down that. Like, it just gives you names and numbers. Now, what do those numbers mean? I can't tell you because they just gave you this bar graph showing like they all come from somebody, right? It started with 100. I'd assume it starts with 100. You see, like, here's 74 right here. This person, Maya. So look, you take the Maya and you follow this, and it says the Maya created one branch, this branch which spawned off these two, and this branch which spawned off all these. Now you'd have to ask how this works. Alright, so it starts with the people at the bottom, 100, the Yakut and the Tundra Nepsi, and those two tribes come together, and the line comes over, and they make the Chippewayan, or whatever, and that branch, you kind of see how that goes. Somehow all these get back down to two tribes. Alright, so, but I can't keep telling you over and over again, you're marginalized. So E3 comes up, L comes up in African Americans, not only in African Americans, but everyone else. L2 is specifically, we all share L2. So, people aren't telling you the truth. You know, I'm gonna stop here. I don't think I had anything else on the screen to, yeah, let me go with this. Here. People don't want you to know what your DNA is. Now look. Now here, how black is America? Again, the shit's from Penn State University. You understand the fucking walking stick, right? So all that shit's built on a fraud. You know, understand the real court in America is in Pennsylvania. There is no other court that's actually real. All the other shit's fake. So if Pennsylvania falls, this whole country falls. What they discovered contradicts some of the previous studies. Okay, so how could one study contradict all these other previous studies on the subject where it thought, okay, so all the other studies were thought that blacks were about 30% white. They conclude that the average black is about 17 to 18% white. Now, this is what they want you to think. But this is an average and it depends on location. Okay, well, what do you mean it's on an average and it depends on location? So, I'm going to scroll down here. Now look. Accounts of their Caribbean surrounding accents and more prevalent West African features. The study concludes that the Gullahs are only 3% to 4% white. On the mainland and in South Carolina and Low Country near Charleston, the percentage moved up to about 12%, which is still lower than average. Alright, so how do they, do a study and show, how many of this or that is percentage of white? Isn't that kind of weird? And this is on blackdemographics.com, right? So if you say blackdemographic.com, show me black people haplogroup. Alright, so where's search? Resources. No, there are no search. You can't search. So this is a one-way ticket. You just read whatever he puts up. Okay, now we're gonna go and we're gonna do some FaceTime. Okay. Oh my god, I hate this chair. Oh. Look, I can't keep saying the same thing over and over again. Okay, you're marginalized. Nobody wants you to know who you are historically or who you're related to. Canaanites, they're afraid of you. You control gigantic animals. If you work in a group, you're devastating. The Europeans are so fucking afraid of that. The Israelites couldn't even remove you out of the land that they were given. Alright? This is the biggest problem. Everybody wants to be related to the king, even if they're not. Like I said, if I'm not related to the king, I'm not gonna fucking go in a bunch of hoopla. I've already dedicated too much time and effort into this to just, I give up. At the end of the day, I still have an afro. When the darkest guy is hung on the street, and they get for the next person with an afro, and then the next, eventually I can see that they're gonna get me. There's a pattern being formed. If they start with me, and then fucking by the time they get to the guy on the end of the street and he's still there waiting, then he just didn't see it coming. But the whole fucking street litters with bodies. And what they gonna say with him? They gonna say, boy, you saw us hang every other black man. Why'd you sit there? He gonna say what? Where the fuck was he gonna go? The next neighborhood is gonna be happening. The next neighborhood is gonna be. So you can think what you want. Now ask yourself, if L is in everybody's DNA, how come nobody talks about L? Here's another question. How come on black demographics, or somebody that says it's black demographics, why are they comparing you to whites instead of telling you how your DNA breaks down, to what classification? See, here's the problem. Here's what nobody wants to realize. If each black person has so much African DNA in them, why don't they just use DNA to prove that you're all from Africa? I mean, that's what their DNA says, right? You're either R1B or you're E1, right? Because it's a game. It doesn't hold water. And they don't want you to know that, because they're taking $100 per pop from you. Right now, DNA tests contend with Nike fucking shoes, baby. These guys take 100 something from you, and they pay a fucking lab $50. You take 50, I take 50. And then they get your results, and they just quantify them, and then they send you the same sheet that they just read from. Now, they read from that sheet what the scientists wrote. They send it to a lab. You are not sending your shit to a lab. You are sending your shit to a corporation that is taking your money. Your spit going to the lab. The lab makes a printout. They don't give a fuck who you are. The lab makes a printout. They categorize your name and any information you gave. If you didn't give your ethnicity, then your ethnicity not going up. But trust me, when it says blah, 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 they already know your fucking ethnicity. While we're sitting around learning math and learning fucking lies about Africa being fucking sent here on ships, they're digging up our heritage. I told you, when you go to the museum, you see the shit that was dug up on this continent. You think I'm bullshitting. You always think I'm bullshitting. But who has come back and said I've lied about anything? This DNA shit is so stupid. You're wrapped up with it. The most you can do with it is what you did. My DNA came up as Q. Your DNA came up as Q. Somehow, we're cousins. That's the most you can do with it. So, you can say whatever you want. You can sit there and daydream about how you want women to... Now, I know you didn't write that shit. I know somebody else wrote that shit. But you allowed that shit. So you can sit there and daydream how you want me to start a camp and then get out of the way so you guys can take it over and be ruled by vagina. See, all that babble, you didn't say, oh, we should stop this. You didn't say, well, we should go in support of the people that will come. See, you think that only the people that donated are going to have a chance to do anything with the food that will be grown. You can't fucking sleep in the same area food's grown. But, you know, the way people think, you know. Oh boy. Listen, a lot of people have a lot of dreams. And if you have dreams, you should go fulfill those dreams. Now, when it comes to Utah, that scripture says, set yourselves up toward Zion. Now, you can read it, and you can let whoever you want tell you what it means. You can read it, you can tell yourself what it means. But you've already seen me read it. You've already seen me say out loud what I think it means. I didn't say that to you. I didn't say that to the next guy. I said it into a camera. Now, how many times did I tell you? Moses is there. That's correct. We recently saw, it says in his body is not a beta, his natural spirit's not a beta. It means he's mummified. This Old Testament says Moses will walk the streets again. How will we do that? I'm assuming there's going to be a scroll to be able to have and whatever. Whatever. But all you people in your little non-group that's not formed yet, all you did was just show the true intentions of your reality. That sweet feminine bitch Khalil is mad because I have viewers, or the amount of viewers. Everything he says, to a great degree, he learned here. He's offended because he wrote a comment. That comment was ignored, and he got blocked. Now, in all of his videos, he either says something directed towards me, or he writes something in his comments. Who cares? One thing I ask people to do is, if you take the information, don't attack me. And that's what you've both done. And now, like foul porridge, other people have come and taken bites. And all I'm going to do is just not deal with them. Just like I'm not going to deal with you. You can't stop this train. I didn't even start this train. I just hopped on it when it was sitting in the station. And I went up and started playing with the buttons because nobody was around. Now this train's a moving. Now people know there's going to be a time when you can't use money. When they turn this money shit off, everybody's going to go haywire. You know, when they go haywire, the neighbor is going to rob the neighbor and blah, 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 blah. We're going to go into martial law. During that time, you're an ignorant bastard, just like the rest of us. And we're going to be like, you can't take my gun. I need my gun in case we hear about food and we go to fight for the food. So they're going to want your weapons. They're going to say stay in your house, and you're going to pace back and forth, say I can't stay in this place, I got to go somewhere. So you're going to get arrested and you're going to be put in FEMA camps. Slowly but surely, like little hall monitors, they're going to pick you up out of your homes because you're going to be breaking their rules. They're going to say stay in your homes. You're going to say I ain't got no food in my home. And slowly but surely, you're going to fill those FEMA camps. They're going to see what skills you have. When you say I don't have any skills, they're going to fucking kill you. I didn't set this into motion. That Bible says go to the hills and live as he goats. If we set up a village, they'll come and pluck the village. But if we set up a food source and live in the mountains for a while, like the scripture says, everybody's got some kind of fucking fantasy. Whirlpools and swimming pools and slides and go-karts. Nobody's reading this. War and fucking destruction is coming, and you guys think that we're gonna have our goddamn feet up fucking sipping iced teas. We're gonna be hiding like fucking animals. And you don't see it. There might start a time and peace that we're able to get another piece of land and dwell here and tend to the food so that the food grows. At some point, that's done. There's a point that we all meet. Then there's a point that we have met and we're all led. That point we're all led is the point where we sign the new covenant. And that means that if people do the same thing in Texas, and at some point they just know instinctively it's time to go, and they are led to that same point. It means if people were in California and they didn't go 2 states over. That means if people are up in Washington. That means if people are in Ohio, living in the mountains doing the same way, doing the same thing, then they got a long way to traverse. That means if people are up living in Canada in the fucking hills, then they gotta go from mountain to mountain to mountain to mountain until they get all the way down to where we're all going. I'm saying, this Bible says we should go to Utah, go as a group. It doesn't matter if people scraggle here and there, but in Utah, we can go as a group. We don't have to live together. I think it's something like 47 fucking million acres. Like how come when we broadcast, hey, we're gonna go to Utah because the Bible says so, how come everybody thinks Utah is like one fucking house and everybody's gonna live in the same house? I told you about that Indian mentality. You don't respect that. You do not respect that you think like an Indian. The next guy cannot have if I not have. You don't talk like an Indian. You don't act like an Indian. You think like an Indian. And then what happens? Then it happens to you. The babbling. Then it happens to you. The action. And then you're acting like an Indian and you don't even know it. You're not getting your way, so the best thing to do is try to club somebody. I was sent something today, and it is from Mr. Smith. He said, go look at this thing, and it was Mohawk Indians, the world of the Mohawks. And oh, excuse me, there's a link to a book, and this is the image that you see. Alright, so that woman is the image of Mohawk Indians. So when you go, here we go, same book. Alright, now we're at the book online. You have that picture. Now watch this. Now everything below it is the actual book. It's not a long book, but here next you have this picture of this guy. Now this guy and the last person do not look the same at all. Now above that, see it says the Mohawk Indians, right? Then you get this picture, right? Now you have to ask yourself, how you start with this, then the next picture is this. Now these two pictures, they kind of match, right? I mean, they look like they're all of the same Indian group, right? And then out of nowhere you get a Negro Indian. Now, either something is happening in these tribes, or the artist isn't telling us the truth. Something's going on. Now, I'm gonna just simply put it like this: just because, no, all that DNA shit aside, just because you view, that doesn't mean that if I go to Utah, I want you near me. There needs to be something productive that happens between us as a group. Now, I've explained we don't have to have the same camping area. We can come together for meals, or we can come together for special meals. If nobody has nothing out there, then we kind of have to hunt together. If hunting's hard and I have to hunt and you're not going to hunt but you want to eat, then that means you've got to do something productive while I'm out hunting, and that doesn't mean tend to my family, because I could have took my whole family hunting. See my whole point right there? There needs to be a balance and an exchange of effort for effort. That doesn't necessarily mean that I hunt you and you clean the animal. I mean, that's fair, but you know what I mean. Now, everybody's got ideas. Everybody's got dreams. Now, in these cities, your dreams have failed for the most part. If your dreams were successful, you wouldn't be playing on YouTube at all. You'd be up in that bigger league of people spending lots of money, right? Gain more, spend more. You're here. Something about your spirit. Whether you don't like me, whether you don't agree with everything I say, or whatever, you keep coming back. Now you know we're going. All of you should plan to go. You need to get the fuck away from where you live, because it's going to get locked down eventually. Now, can 30 people live on top of one mountain? Who knows? But the funny thing is, there's a lot of mountains out there. Now, when it's called the Four Corners, we're just highlighting Utah. Now, it's been brought up that you can camp in one area for up to 2 weeks. Now, the prime camping areas, they cost money to camp there because they're usually by water, whether it's good fishing or just drinking water, or easier access to drinking water. There's fountains set up. They have a water fountain system that's set up from fresh mountain water. So if the mountains contain the fresh water, then yeah, if we can, we want to live in the mountains or on the mountains. I can't tell you what's going to happen because we're not there yet. Once we get there, there's no guarantee of broadcasting. I've told you all, you have to pray on this. And if you don't want to, that's your problem. You know, because this person writing all these negative shits, you know, that's just their fantasies of what they think will happen. You know, I have nightmares about what I think. I don't mean sleeping nightmares. I have nightmarish thoughts about what could happen. But I have healthy, constructive thoughts about what could happen. Now, which one outweighs the other? Neither. Because neither have become reality yet. Look, I wanted to just see something. I took a picture of this because it kind of, you know, when we're sitting there reading and we see, oh man, I'm looking for this picture I took. It seems to elude me. No, it's right in front of me. I just can't see it because of its color. Alright, so the GoFundMe at some point yesterday for land exploration and purchase reached 1,444. So I thought that was, you know, kind of temporarily special for me to come down and look at it at that time, and that's where it was. Again, I want to thank everyone for their donations. I truthfully don't know what we're gonna do. I'll tell you know. I'll tell you, there's options now that weren't there before, and it depends on how many of you are going to come out and help out. You know, look, there's a recreation or agricultural place in Delta, Utah. It's 40 acres. East Highway 257, South Delta, Utah. It's $8,000 for 40 acres, and it's farmland. You know, there's no picture for it. It's just a satellite image. No picture provided. But you know, right now we're in the 100. I mean, we're in the 1,000 area. You know, we don't know. You know, we don't know what is going to come up. You know, the more opportunity comes up, you know, the more daydreams come up. I mean, there's a lot you can do. I mean, I'll show you what I mean. Here's landwatch.com. All right, now landwatch.com. Now you see that mountain right there? It is Mount Green in Morgan County, Utah. It is 2,300 acres. It's 2,300 acres. All right. Now, this is the first picture that they show you. I believe that's what it looks like in the winter. Now, this is what it looks like, I believe, in the summer, unless they're just, if this picture is associated with this land that they're showing you, that's what it is. And I'll flip again. and that's it from another angle, right? Now, I believe those white mountains are in the background. Those white mountains in the background. I believe that's this side. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. But you see, there's a lot of room for growth. You can see that, you know, even with the trees and the grass growing, you know, plants would grow. Now, here's the price. The price for that mountain is $10,000. That's in Morgan County. Where is Morgan County? I don't know. But I thought it was interesting that when I'm looking on Land Watch, there's a whole mountain that's for sale. There's another mountain that's for sale. I forgot. I think it's in Barrow County, and that's $3,000. Again, there's a lot of options that are available. It's just about what we can participate with. Now again, I can't. 1 acre of land is a lot. Now, spending $10,000 and trying to start food on 23 acres, of course, that doesn't mean I'm going to start planting in 23 acres immediately. That means you start with 1 acre and you grow. Now, if 23 acres of land is bought, then yes, there's room to camp for people, and there's room for people for the food to grow. That is a lot of area to be able to do a lot of things. You know, so, you know, just keep that in mind. In another video, I might sit down and we might look at the different land prices. But just because we look at the land doesn't mean that we are going to own that land. And then for some types of property, doesn't mean we can do everything that we want to. Some properties we'll be able to go out and even shoot guns. Some properties we won't be able to. Once we start amassing people one way or the other, and we want to not be separated, then we have legal right to make titles over ourselves. I've heard the title commune come up recently. But we have different options. You understand, I want to deal with a tribe. We are the Phoenix. As a group, we will rise. Now, this is what they're worried about. This is what the small minds are worried about. And this is what the bigger minds are worried about. The Phoenix rising. So, I suggest you read. Nothing is going to benefit you more than reading. Nothing. If you think I'm wrong, read. Prove me wrong. If you think that you're not smart, read. Prove yourself wrong. Your brain is a muscle. It's like a battery. Until you're oozing out blood, until you're it still works the same as everybody else's. You have strong parts, you have weak parts. But until we're using our brain, this stuff isn't going to make the greatest sense to anyone. You have to be activated. And you have to start the division about what's righteous and what's not. Or it's going to eat you. That's the whole game. Everybody's got to eat. And spiritually, this stuff will tear you apart because you don't see it, because it has to do with principalities on that level. I'm done.